think it reads fine. I have two concerns, and one of them's probably not necessarily, I mean, it's just a fundamental distrust of human nature, that this resolution could be cut and pasted, like we support, rather than, I mean, it doesn't go to the resolution, so I just would like to.
Other than area code 72 following, is that what
Yeah,
you're
it's
saying,
just, here it is, very, basically conditionally supports with the following conditions, which you listed out, I don't know. And then, finally, I'm not sure, we talk about the roads and no more further closures, and that's fine, but I would like to see something that just says basically no restrictions with respect to mechanized vehicles or motorized vehicles, just to make it clear that by leaving a road open but restricting access through motorized vehicles, you know, I just want to cover our bases so we don't get the one but get the other. You know what I mean?
Yep,
Does
absolutely.
that make sense?
Yep. That's what, if any of you other folks have changes, you can let me know, and I can have those ahead of council meetings. I think we have to post this Thursday morning.
9 a.m.?
Yeah, Thursday at 9 a.m. So if you have any other changes or want to talk about anything, you're free to do that now. I know that's not traditionally what we've done in tech review, but that's kind of the purpose of tech review, as I understand it. So you can talk about, get things ready for council meeting.
Does everybody really, I mean, do we feel that number 3 really covers any issues we might have had with water? I think that was one of our real concerns with the wilderness designation, that there wouldn't be a way to get water in and out. I know you talked about not being, making sure that we could get any modern conveyance in that area. It sounds good to me, but I'm looking for other input.
I think it looks good. I just, my only concern was just caveating the road system, that by leaving it open but restricting vehicles would get the same answer as closing roads.
Yeah.
Council, if I may, Mayor Pro Tem.
Please.
I received a letter from Pritchard Valley Water District. They do not currently, there is a misconception, they do not currently support the language as it exists in the bills. Mr. Brown sent a copy of the
In
letter.
ours or
In the federal legislation at present, and included in the backup, if you would like, we can include for Thursday a copy of that letter to our federal delegation expressing the language they would like to see in there instead.
Okay.
We can get that for you.
I'd like to see that in the backup.
Okay. There have also been some discussions about roads. There was a survey done, and there is a road network labeled in the legislation. It's a 2006 map. If you'd like, we can include those maps so you can see exactly which roads are proposed right now. So you can see where you're going on that one if that's what you want. We can certainly include that in the backup as well. There is some language in there that does allow for, in the bill as it's currently written under the Senate and the House version, that will allow for temporary closures. It lists some specific instances, like if the road washes out, they're allowed to temporarily close it for maintenance and repair, flash flood. If there's critical habitat, they can temporarily close and reroute the road. Is that language that you would like to see in there as well, or is that language? Because right now the way the language
Well, I think
reads.
anything that's for safety purposes would be beyond our control or beyond anyone's control. Washouts, et cetera, things like that.
I think as long as the word temporary is the word that we're looking for, it's not permanent.
Yeah, I think we can over-engineer this thing. I mean, this is a resolution that's going to carry no weight or effect in the law. It's got probably a little chance of being impactful to anybody outside of this area.
We have received several phone calls about it from our federal delegation.
Oh, good. They finally called.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes, they did.
Finally figured out
Excellent.
who the mayor was, I think.
So they did ask some of those types of questions. That's why I'm asking.
I don't have any problem with temporary closures. If that's something we want to add, I don't have any problem. That makes sense, obviously.
Okay.
A couple suggestions as well, maybe finding the Goldview complex itself.
There's a map that exists, a 2013 map we can include in the background as well if you'd like.
Well, I'd like to see that, and see what it,
Okay.
I'd like to see it start at Wooden Pockets rather than the backyard over here. But, and then maybe I think there's some designations of the road mapping that we might want to be specific about so that we all know what we're referencing.
Okay.
I think both of those maps that you just talked about, Aaron, would be helpful, and that way we have all the information. It doesn't cost us any extra to upload.
So I will get those out as soon as I have the Gold Butte one that's actually referenced in the legislation. I'll get that to you this afternoon. I'm still working on the roads one. I'm getting a copy of that, but I can get that to you so you can say this. These are the roads we do. We agree with this, or we don't agree with that. So,
Do you want me to then draft temporary closure language regarding the roads? Do we want that in there, or is that something you guys want to reserve to the council meeting to add in if you so wish?
I'd like to see what the definition is, but I'm inclined to say that would be, I have no issue with that.
Okay.
Just makes sense to me.
So that temporary remains temporary.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I'd note on any of these provisions, whatever it is, when we get to council meeting, you can say, you know, I motion for this, excluding provisions
Right.
1, 2, or excluding this language. I mean, we can do that at council meeting.
And we can also add other things that council meetings we have to.
Right, you can add things, and that's the other question I was gonna ask is, do you want me to slide in a definite, a whereas defining Gold Butte area, but I'll leave it blank, and then you guys can figure that out at council meeting when you have maps in front of you and all of that?
I'll try to get some information before, so it can be.
Okay. Sounds good.
there are a couple other items we included in there that exist in the legislation that you may want to consider. One of them is the existence of an advisory council. Say, if Gold Butte is approved, Mesquite would have a place at the table of the advisory council.
Yeah, I think that's important. We haven't had a place at the table up until now in any discussions apparently, but
Location of a visitor center, that's something else that's contemplated in the legislation. If it were to ever be built, it says in the legislation right now that it would be built in Mesquite, Nevada. Is that something that you would like in there as well?
Yes,
I think so.
I think definitely.
If, it just says if it is built, not saying when it's built or anything like that, it just says
Right.
if it's built, it'd be, okay. And then also the legislation talks, well, the previous versions have also talked about these core values. Certain things that you would like them to be aware of as they frame the legislation and they debate it, are those core values that you want to see included in the resolution? They're included in previous resolutions that we have.
I don't have any desire for that.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, any further discussion on item number 10?
Are your PDFs, okay? When I try to open it, it tells me I'm gonna correct.
Are you trying to open the resolution? Councilman? I
No,
have a copy
the
right
bottom
here.
two.
Oh, you got once?
I'm getting
Mine's the
four.
same way as yours, yeah.
And Craig's the same.
I've got a copy.
I've got a copy, but you guys may wanna double check the PDFs, make sure they're okay for, what's online.
Okay, moving on to item number